This intro goes out specifically to Margaret Pennard. I want you to know, Margaret, I did see your tweet the other day about why do people take thumbnails with all the pages facing out and how actually seeing the books that are going to be talked about draw you into the video. I totally get that, but it just works better for text placement, and also I like the mystery aspect. So I get your point, Margaret, but it's fun. Hi everyone, it's Rosie here. Welcome back to my channel. You might be able to guess from the fact that my hair looks exactly the same as my last video that I just filmed it. But you know what, we're gonna do a different top because I like to keep the thumbnails feeling fresh. If you saw my last video, you'll know that I just did a big reorganize, made my bookshelves look pretty type thing. And now I've got a whole bunch of gaps because I've just pulled out all of the books that I own physically that I have not yet read. So they're all going back in, but for now there's some gaps and I'm going to tell you about all of the physical books that I have not read. I'm going to start with what's closest to me, and that is general fiction. So first in general fiction, literary fiction, classics, whatever you want to call it, I have Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I have this beautiful Folio Society edition that I got secondhand a few years ago, and I really want to read Rebecca. I don't know if I want to read this version. I might want to get an ebook, but I do want to read this one, and it's gorgeous, and I really like it even if I haven't read it yet. Then I have Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day by Winifred Watson. This was my prize for winning the draw at the end of March of the Moderns. I was one of the people who got a full bingo and I won a book and it was really exciting. I'm really excited to read this. This is one of the Persephone classics, that's what they're called. Yeah, gray editions, and I don't really know what this book is about, but I've seen good things and the synopsis sounded good when I requested it. That's a book to be seen soon. Then I have The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I actually don't know how to pronounce this author's name. You know, the guy who wrote The Alchemist. This actually I don't think is my book. I've never read it, I've never wanted to read it. I think I might have accidentally stolen it from my brother. I think in one of the points where I was moving with all my books, this one got mixed in with mine instead of staying with his, so sorry. Then I have The Spartacus War by Barry Strauss, and I'm actually, now that I look at this, not sure. This might... It is a dramatic and factual account. This is nonfiction. It should not be with the fiction books. It might stay there though because it fit really nicely on the shelves. This is either a birthday or a Christmas present from my dad many years ago, and it's probably fascinating, but I have not gotten to it yet. Now we do get into proper nonfiction. We Have Never Been Middle Class by Hadass Weiss. How Social Mobility Misleads Us. I'm sure this is fascinating. I bought it and was very excited about it last summer, and I just, you know how it be, have not got to it yet. Then the next three books are also from that same haul. I have Feminism for the 99%, a manifesto. Again, I have this idea, I think, with We've Never Been Middle Class, Feminism for the 99%, and this next one, Tibet on Fire, Self-Immolation Against Chinese Rule by Tsering Wozer. They're all three these really tiny, interesting looking books, and I think I have this thought that I think I've mentioned before, that one of these days I'm going to do like a 30 books in 30-day challenge or something, and then I'll need these tiny books when I do that challenge so that I can like blast through them in the span of a third of a normal book. Will that ever happen? I really don't know, honestly. Maybe I should just read these. And then the last one in that pile is Revolting Prostitutes, The Fight for Sex Workers' Rights by Molly Smith and Juno Mack. This is like nonfiction. It's so easy. It's about sex work and the legality and both the written law versus how that is implemented versus how that actually impacts sex workers around the world. Whenever I try and do a video like this, I realize why I don't usually, because I'm just like, this book looks good. I want to read this book. I just haven't yet. Then I have The World That Trade Created, Society, Culture, and the World Economy, 1400 to the Present by Kenneth Pomeranz and Stephen Topic. This is a book that a friend gave me because he bought it used and they accidentally sent 2 copies, and I don't know, that title sounds really cool. Someday I'll get to all of them someday. Now we move on into more like general nonfiction stuff. To start, I have 2 more Folio Societies that I also bought secondhand. First, I have Travels in West Africa by Mary Kingsley, which honestly I bought because it looked cool and I was in a like, oh my god, I've just been traveling for a year and haven't been able to buy books. I can buy books now feeling, so I was like, buy all the books. And it was pretty. From what I know though, Mary Kingsley has a very like, she was a, I think, Victorian traveler, explorer in Africa, and had a, you know, very white British Victorian viewpoint on everything, which was of course very racist. So I don't, maybe I'll try this at some point. It's not what I'm super excited about now because of that. Then the last Folio Society one in this pile, I have Bruce Chatwin's The Songlines. I don't really know anything about this book. Seems to be unread too, which is pretty impressive because, again, I bought this totally secondhand. Cannot afford to take gambles on Folio Society books I have not read. This one's about Australia, I think. I think that's why I bought it. I should have looked these books up, but I'm just sort of running through what was on the shelf. So, you know, if you know stuff, let me know down below. Then I have a recent haul that I'm very excited about. I have Tanya Tagaq's Split Tooth. Tanya Tagaq is an Inuit artist and musician and author, and this is like, I think, part memoir, part poetry, part essay. I don't really know. I've heard very different things from different people. Some people seem to really, really love it. Some people really don't like it. Either way, I want to read it. Like that makes me interested. And I got a physical copy instead of an ebook copy. So I was at the bookstore and I just wanted to buy books, okay. But also I figure since there is some like poetry and illustration and stuff, given that there's a sort of visual component, I'd rather have the physical book. I think I've mentioned this before, but if I'm doing something like reading poetry or anything graphic, I want to be sure that I'm reading it on the page exactly how the author wanted it to be on the page. Is this overly picky? Yes. I am sure there's no issues with reading poetry on like a Kindle. But for me, I think especially where I feel like not super comfortable with the genre, I want to know that like everything I'm looking at is exactly how it was planned, and that like, oh, I've got a weird font size that's like making it show up totally weird and then I'm not getting it. It's a pretty book. It's got one of those like velvety covers and it's so black with the white fonts. Then yet another impulse buy. You might be noticing a theme here. I have The Stairway by Alice A. Chown. I don't really know what this book is. It's apparently by an early Canadian feminist, and it was like, I think, edited or introduced by her great-great-granddaughter, her great-great-grandniece or something. I don't know much. It sounds cool, and again, this was one of the I can buy physical books again splurges of the summer of 2017. That like, also it's so purple and it's so pretty. Then I have The Badass Librarians of Timbuktu and Their Race to Save the World's Most Precious Manuscripts by Joshua Hammer. This is a book that I had been seeing around and thinking about picking up for so long, and then finally I was out at the bookstore one day. I promise I'm not at the bookstore as much as this makes me sound, but you know, I was there and like this was out on one of those bargain carts outside, and I was like, okay, well clearly I have to buy it. Usually this is the sort of book I would rather buy an ebook copy of, at least until I know I absolutely love it, but it was on the bargain cart. I was like, okay, clearly this is the world telling me to finally buy this book. Then I have from someplace else a memoir by Ralph Osborne, The 60s, A Decade of Tumult, of Innocence Lost, Found, and Lost Again. By 1971, Ralph Osborne, at 27, believed he knew everything. This guy's from New Brunswick. I didn't even know that. I bought it in Ontario. You know how it is when you're at a used bookstore and it's like, oh, well, it's used. It's cheaper. It's okay if it's not something I've been like super excited to read. I'll just pick it up because the cover looks cool. Another one of the books from the Verso Hall, Betraying Big Brother, The Feminist Awakening in China by Leta Hong Fincher. I feel like I've heard really good things about this. I can't remember who, but I feel like someone who's like taste in this sort of books I respect really liked this or talked about it. I can't remember. Again, it's just one of those covers and one of those titles that just makes me go like, yes, clearly I need this. The last unread nonfiction book I have is Franshesca Ramsey's Well, That Escalated Quickly, Memoirs and Mistakes of an Accidental Activist. I feel really bad about not having read this book. My best friend in the world bought this for me in, I think, the summer of 2018. I think that's when it came out, and she wanted to like support the author, so she sent me a copy as well. That's 3 years ago now, and I started it. I actually made it like a little bit of the way into the book. I reached page 40, and then I just put it down and haven't picked it up again, and I would really like to. It's been 3 years. Sounds interesting. I feel like I was enjoying the like prose. It's just that I've got this weird thing where if someone tells me that I should read a book, or like, I don't know, it just makes me not want to read it, and it makes me afraid that I'm not gonna like it, I guess. It's weird, but basically the more someone recommends something to me, the less likely I am to want to pick it up, for the most part. Obviously there's exceptions. Is this a dumb issue in my head? Yes, but it's definitely a major blocker. And we're gonna end with the comic/graphic novel-y type stuff. First, I have volumes 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 of Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. This series was so popular back in the day. Everyone on BookTube loved it. Everyone on BookTube talked about it. I, not yet on BookTube, but like a fan, bought the first 4 volumes. I read those, and then I just kept buying volumes without having read the previous ones. So one of these days I want to go back and read from the very beginning all the way through and like do that, but for now they live on my bookshelf looking gorgeous. The next 2 are recent purchases. Again, I've got Fangs by Sarah Andersen. This is about a vampire and a werewolf who both are like actual monsters, not like, oh, they're a vampire and a werewolf, but they're good guys, and I think there's romance. I don't know, this was one that Emrita said was good, so I bought it. Emrita is basically the exception to my if you tell me to read something I can't rule, because I don't know, whenever she tells me to read something I'm like, yes, immediately, of course. So Fangs, I'm gonna probably read this in October. I don't think this will be unread for very long. It felt so spooky that I wanted to read it then. Next up, I have Queer: A Graphic History by Meg-John Barker and Julia Scheele. This has been on my TBR for several years now. A year? I don't know. I can't remember where I heard about this. It's been up for like 5 years, so it could have been on my list for a while, but it's one of those books that I was always like, that sounds cool. Also, I definitely want a physical copy because it's, well, a graphic history. There's like text and pictures interspersed, and I just know that I'm not going to enjoy reading that on my Kindle. So again, the other weekend I was at the bookstore and it was like, oh, it's on the display. Okay, yes, clearly I need to buy this. And I'm really excited to read this. I'm not sure when this video is going up, but either this coming weekend or the weekend after when you're seeing this is one of the Queer Lit Readathon like mini readathons. They do 2 week-long ones and 2 weekends every year. So September 25th and 26th is one of the weekend Queer Lit Readathons, and I think I'm gonna read this then. And finally, we have Paper Girls Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan, Cliff Chiang, Matt Wilson, and Jared K. Fletcher. This is another one of those ones that I feel like a lot of YouTubers and booktubers were talking about maybe 4 or 5 years ago now. It's been a while, but it was super popular. Everyone was talking about it. I bought the first volume and I just haven't gotten to it. So at some point I want to read this and see like, okay, do I like it enough to want to get the rest of the series? Because I don't even remember what this is about. Like, at this point, I know nothing about this series. And it's kind of hard with graphic novels and comics sometimes because one volume is not actually that much, and it can be hard to know if you like it enough to want to read the next one, but someday I'll do that experiment. Okay, this is all of my unread physical books. Oh shit, no, there's one missing. Totally forgot about this one because it's the only unread one in its category. It is The Clockwork Rocket by Greg Egan. This is book 1 in the orthogonal series. It is science fiction about an alternate universe. I don't know, it sounds cool. I've owned this physical book since, I want to say 2015, and I just haven't gotten to reading it, but it does sound cool, so I'm holding on to it. Maybe someday I'll be ready for a new series. That's the other thing too, right? Because like, this is book 1, so what if I fall in love and then I need to read all the other books? And you guys know there's already so many sequels I need to get to, so I can't be bringing that onto myself. Anyways, this truly is the final unread physical book. I'm gonna try and take a thumbnail and then put all these back on my shelves. Let me know down below, how many unread physical books do you guys keep on hand at any given time? And if you like this video, please give it a like down below. If you would like to see more of my videos, please hit subscribe, and thank you for watching.